Take a second spike, put it on the other side of the rail. Then we'll do the next tie. And so on until you're done. Then this is a standards gauge. The rail has to, you probably can't see the offset in that. Yeah. There's little tangs on here that fit between the rails, and then there's a step, and it's supposed to be no white, or it has to be at least as wide as it is between the tags and no wider than that step. You put it on here and you check it, and it's just right, so it's okay. Now I only check occasionally because these pretty much put it where it belongs. If you have a problem, then you use the standard gauge to check things out and see where the problem is. The train has made its way to the Lizard Head snow shed. This was a big structure. The actual one was a lot longer than this yet, but I didn't have that much room. That they built on top of Lizard Head Pass because the snow was so bad. And this was to keep the trains from being covered by snow up at the top of the pass. This is all scratch built. It's all individual little pieces of wood. The main covering is a 2x12, and then there's 1x2s that cover the cracks. And the real snow shed had this same kind of lumber. This end of the snow shed burned in about 1939 to 41, in that neighborhood. It did go way on down, and it burned, and they never rebuilt that part of it. It actually covered a Y. There's tracks that go back. There's a track that went back toward the mountains, and there's a sheep loading pen back in there. There are actually 4 stock cars sitting inside that snow shed for the next time we run a stock train. Okay, number 42 is going to go up and pick up the loaded log cars, bring them back, and eventually take them to Dolores so that the Montezuma Lumber Company can take them to the mill to get cut up into lumber. So let's go over here and turn the switches so that we can get that train out of here. This is for turning turnouts. That's for giving it power. We're going to run it on the yellow throttle. And I need to make sure all my switches are turned. This one's right. That one's right. So I think we're ready to go. This is the Durango to Rico turn. It starts in Durango. We'll go out, make pickups and set outs at Dolores, and go and make its way to Rico, where it'll turn around. It'll drop these cars off. The engines will turn around, and there will be cars there for it to bring back. Almost all my structures are scratch built. This is one of the latest ones. This is all cardboard with paper bricks glued on the outside, plastic windows. If you can see up here, it's got rafters, roof rafters and everything. But almost all of the structures on the railroad are scratch built, including that station and the Cleopatra mill. There are a few, I think on this end of the railroad, there are maybe 2 kits. On the other end of the railroad, Durango and Dolores, there's a couple of commercial brick structures that what they call kit bashed. You take them and you build them into something that they weren't originally intended for, and that's what I use for some of the buildings at Durango. I've tried to make everything as much like the real railroad as I could, except for Durango. Durango is freelanced. I don't have anywhere near enough room to model Durango the way it really was. About half of the freight cars are scratch built. The other half are kits with a few ready to run models. The locomotives are almost all brass imports, meaning that they were built overseas. To begin with, it was in Japan and then Korea, and now they're built in China. And they're all soldered together from brass. If you look at the details, they're very detailed, and there's a lot of work in each one of them. I've taken them and put sound in them, changed motors, repainted, or I painted them, they don't come painted, and just tried to get them running as good. This is a stock car that I scratch built. In fact, I even drew the plans for it. At the time I built it, there were no plans for this car. And what I did is I just went from pictures in books that I have and drew my own plans. I knew about what size everything was, but there wasn't a plan with the car in this configuration with truss rods and these trucks. Anyway, all of these boards were individual boards that are all glued together. And if you can come in real close, you can see that there's little bolts that hold the slats to the beams, and also there's a little ladder on the end that's made up of what we call grab irons. It's individual little U-shaped iron that they put on the sides of the car to use as a ladder. When I did this, for each grab iron there are 4 holes to drill. You put a little nut bolt washer casting in the first set of holes, and then the grab iron itself goes in the second set. I'll show you in a minute how we mount those things. I won a first place at a narrow gauge convention with this car back in the 90s. From 96 until 2000, I entered contests. They have contests at the National Narrow Gauge Convention in all different categories. They have freight cars, that's what I wanted for this one. Cabooses, locomotives, favorite train, and I've won the favorite train a total of 4 times, and cabooses once and this once. First places. I've taken other awards in between, but I'm kind of retired from that now. Anyway, here's how we do the grab irons. Here's a little piece of wood. I've drilled. You have to locate the holes. You probably can't see this. It's probably too little, but you measure how far apart, how big the grab iron is, and put the 2 holes that far apart. Then you take this little drill. This one is 16 thousandths of an inch in diameter, and you drill holes. Then you take the nut. This is a sprue of nut bolt washer castings, and we cut a couple castings off like that. I take my tweezers. I make myself a little puddle of super glue. Dip the bolt in there, and then place it in one of the holes. Take the second one, dip it in the glue, place it in the holes. Ooh, the holes are a little bit tight for that. Ooh, I don't want to go in. Okay, there we go. Now, after you get the bolts in, you make a little spot with a pointed tool, like that. Drill 2 more little holes. And you take the grab iron, which I should have showed you before, but the grab iron's right here. Put a couple spots of super glue on. And put that in, and then you use this little spacer to space it the correct distance from the car. There you have the little grab iron. Now I form the grab irons myself. I have this little jig. I forgot to get a piece of wire ahead of time, but there's little holes in here for all different spacings of grab irons. And you put one tang of the wire in, bend it over, and bend over the other side, and it makes a whole grab iron. Flip it off, and you're done. This is a caboose that I scratch built way back. I can't remember the year. Leo and Inga were here when I first, Leo and Inga are friends from Germany. They were here, and I went to the Colorado Railroad Museum and measured this caboose, while Leo and Inga and Joan went into Golden shopping. But anyway, this is all scratch built. I did the interior, I measured the interior and built it just like the real caboose. It had lights. Even the little markers were lit. There are bulbs in those markers, but I don't have a battery in here anymore. The battery went